Is the Penn Foster Vet Tech program a good program? Is it a good fit for you? Is it something that should be pursued? Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, my name is Shawnlyn. I'm officially in the Penn Foster Vet Tech program right now. I am currently working as a veterinary technician assistant. I am on the job trained, so while my responsibilities go above what an assistant would be, that is the technical job title when you are not a registered, certified, or licensed veterinary technician. Going to Penn Foster to get my AS in veterinary technology will allow me to sit for the VTNE or the VITNE, which will allow me to get that title of certified, registered, or licensed veterinary technician. I think the first point I want to hit on is that Penn Foster is one of many online veterinary technician programs, and they are hands down the cheapest. I researched a bunch of different programs before doing this one. I actually started at the San Juan College program, uh, 2020. What a great time. That was such a good decision. And so, yeah, I started at that program and quickly realized that it was not the program for me. There were various factors that had me choose to drop out of that program, but Penn Foster I found to just be a better fit for me, and it's the cheapest one. So I think that's why so many people are attracted to it. I would argue it's probably the most well-known one as well amongst all of my veterinary technician colleagues. A lot of us are aware of the Penn Foster program, and a lot of us are signed up for it. It's a very easy program to get started. You can just go online, couple clicks of a button, and you're in. So the questions that a lot of people ask is it a good fit for you? Only you know that, but a big part of the program is it is very self-motivating. You're not going to have any teachers that are going to be telling you, hey, I need you to turn in this assignment. Your work is due here. Your presentation is due this date. There is none of that. It is very self-paced in a semi-nuanced kind of way, which I'll get into in a little bit. But overall, it is a self-paced program. So you do need to be able to tell yourself that you're going to work, set a schedule for yourself to work on it. Because if you're not going to work on it, if you need a teacher, if you need accountability, if you need somebody to tell you to work on something, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to be able to finish the program. And you can make up all sorts of different things of trying to get yourself outer accountability or get yourself motivated, tell yourself different things, because many people think that I'm a really self-motivated person, but honestly, I just continually remind myself that this is something that I have chosen to do. And if I've chosen to do it, then I should actually stick to it and complete it. But if I didn't actually want to do it, then I shouldn't have signed up for it in the first place. I should have just continued as an on the job trained tech and not worried about the certification if it's not something that I wanted to do. I personally have my bachelor's degree, so I already have a college degree. So going back to school was something that I never thought I was going to do. So this was a decision that I thought about and put a lot of time into deciding that this is actually something that I am going to do. And when it gets hard, when it gets annoying, when I don't want to work on it, I remind myself, you don't have to be doing this. You chose to do this. Since you chose to do it, you need to actually do it. And so that is something that really helps me with staying motivated to actually finish it and reminding myself that the sooner I complete it, the sooner I do this work, the sooner I get through this class, through this lecture, through this section, the sooner I will be done with school, the sooner I will have my licensing, and the sooner I will not have to worry about this anymore. That actually brings me to another really good point, which is if you have never worked in a vet clinic in any capacity, then I don't think that you should join any online vet tech program. I don't think that there is any online program that is going to be better than Penn Foster, if you don't know what the job entails. I have seen and heard many people say, "Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to go work at a vet clinic. I just get to play with puppies and kittens all day now." That could not be further from what the job entails. Yes, of course, we see puppies and kittens, but it is so few and far between, and you're not playing with puppies and kittens. Yes, you want to make sure that they're happy and that they're having as stress-free of a visit as possible, but you have to poke that animal with needles. It is not just all fun and games and everybody's happy-go-lucky and it's all great. So I think it's really, really important for you to understand what the job even entails before you embark on a whole ass degree of getting something when you don't even know what it actually is that you're going to be doing. So get a job at an entry level position as maybe a CCA, a client care advocate, aka a receptionist. Get a job as a kennel assistant or a kennel tech. That's somebody who kind of does a lot of maintenance around the hospital. They also might be labeled as veterinary technician assistants. So, various job titles there that are just entry level positions so that you can be on the other side and see what it's like to be the worker in the clinic as opposed to the client coming in with your pet. It's a very, very different experience. Okay, now that we've decided that you do want to be a vet tech and you've worked in the field, is the Penn Foster program hard? I personally have had a fairly easy time with the first 2 semesters. Again, I have my bachelor's degree, so if you have your degree, also if you have an AA, AS, bachelor's, whatever level of degree that you have, contact Penn Foster and ask them if you can send them your transcripts so that some of your GE or general education can be taken care of. Because all of my GE classes are completely covered. I only have to do the veterinary technician classes, the veterinary technology classes, which is very nice because I've already done that stuff. I don't want to repeat it. I don't need to take Psych 101 again. I've already done it. So I can just focus on the veterinary technology classes, and that gets all of my time and energy. And those are going to be, on average, I would think, the more difficult classes because they're so much more focused on the person getting the degree in that field, whereas general education is supposed to be applicable to anybody and everybody. So, the course material, there is an information overload, honestly, with the Penn Foster course material in the first 2 semesters. But if you have all of your general education taken care of, all of the classes that you're going to be taking in the first semester, the all of the testing, the midterms and the finals are going to be open note and in the comfort of your own home. So for me, that takes a lot of test anxiety away personally, and having the knowledge that I can go back to my test and fix answers that I was uncertain of made it significantly easier to me. I was truly trying to make these classes way harder than they are and these tests way harder than they are. I would go in and go to the test after I'd studied for hours and hours, weeks and weeks, and try to just get everything correct on the first go. But then I got to the end of the first test and it said save and complete later. And I was like, oh, I can come back to this. So that's what I started doing. So I would go through and I would answer as many questions as I could, and then ones that I was unsure of or that I just flat out didn't know the answer for, I would go back into the material and try to find where that was and figure out what the answer was. So then I would be able to do well on my test and go back into the test. I think this is kind of a secret that people don't realize or don't know about just from what I've heard of a lot of people kind of struggling with anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. I've heard of a lot of people struggling with it and having a difficult time on the test, but you can save and go back in later. You do not have to have all of the answers and all of the information right away. And I think this is really crucial because, as I said before, it is very self-paced, self-motivated. No teachers telling you what to do. Also, no teachers giving you study guides, there for questions, asking you if you understand the material, going over lectures, telling you this is what you should focus on. You're just given mountains of information and told to remember all of it, which is unreasonable. It's unreasonable. We're not going to do that. We're not going to remember all of the information, and you don't need to. You do not need to know every single little detail of the anatomy and physiology of every animal. You just don't. That's not how the real world works. So, what's really nice is you have these open note tests, these open book tests, so that you can go in and figure it out later. For me, the tests were not the difficult part. Once I figured that out, got that straightened out my first semester, it's just procrastination. I just didn't feel like it. Just didn't want to do it. I was having a hard time with getting motivated. And so that was when I figured out, what's my why? Why am I doing this? And I'm like, I'm doing this because I have made a decision, a mindful decision, to go back to school, to get some credentials, to get the base knowledge and more than just on the job training. That is something that I decided for myself. No one made me do it. No one said I had to do it. I made that decision, so I need to make sure that I actually complete this and do this. And so that really helped me get back on the train of trying to do things. But yeah, procrastination was the hardest part for me. But I wouldn't say that the material and the courses themselves are difficult. You just need to apply yourself a bit. Speaking of how long it takes to complete everything, the self-paced thing. So Penn Foster is, I would say, the most self-paced of all of the online programs because, as I said, there's no teachers telling you you need to have a test in by this time, an assignment by this time, quizzes every week, chapters read at specific times. That is how San Juan was structured. You had to sign up for classes during specific semesters, and San Juan had a quiz every single week for 15 weeks in the semesters. I could not handle that. Working full time, being an adult, trying to live my life, it was unreasonable, honestly. I have to work, I have to pay my mortgage. It's just not an option. I'm not going to have time to read 3 chapters a week every single week for almost 4 months. So Penn Foster gives you that flexibility of, ooh, I have a lot going on this week, so I'm not going to be able to do much schoolwork this week. That is how it is very self-paced. But in the other sense, they do want you to finish your degree in a reasonable amount of time. So they give you specific time frames for the semester. The school is set up in a way that I have not experienced with any other school. You sign up for a whole semester in one shot, which includes a specified amount of classes and a set class schedule. You do not get to choose your classes. It is not that kind of a school. They just say, this is your first semester, this is what it is. And you have semesters 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 2 externships along the way. Semester 1, I would say, is the easiest semester, which it should be. It's your first semester. And so they give you 12 months to complete that semester. So that's where the kind of self-paced, not self-paced comes in, is you do need to complete that semester in 12 months, but you have 12 months to complete that semester. And then in terms of the whole program, you have 6 years to complete the program. It is a 2-year degree, but a lot of us are working full time. A lot of people have kids. They have other responsibilities. They have a lot of stuff going on. You know, like I said, most of us are already working in the field. We are adults and we are going back to school to have this licensing. For me, I go into my little home office, my office here, and what I have to do in order to stay on track, to stay focused, is I need to set timers. I don't care if you have ADHD or not. Nobody wants to sit and look at a computer screen for 8 hours straight just reading a textbook. And that's essentially what the material is. It's rough stuff. It's a little rough. So I highly, highly recommend setting timers for 30 to 45 minutes. When that timer goes off, I don't care if you're still ready to go or not, because I have totally fallen in this trap. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Let me just keep going. I'm chilling. And then eventually I just start to lose focus. I start to peter out. I start to get distracted. Oh, what's my phone doing? Oh, I forgot to look up this thing on this website. It'll just be a quick pop over. No, it is completely going to take you out of your work. Next thing you know, you've gone on a 3-hour tangent and you haven't worked on your schoolwork at all. Timers. Timers are your best friend when you are trying to focus on something that you would rather not be doing. So set those 30 to 45-minute timers. When that timer goes off, you stop. I don't care how focused you are, I don't care where you are, finish your sentence, you stop. Then what I do is set another timer for 5 to 15 minutes for my break time. And my breaks can be whatever you want. Sometimes, if I need to be super productive, my break is folding laundry, doing the dishes, emptying the dishwasher, cleaning the cat bowls. You just never know. But that is up to you. Whatever your break looks like, just turning your brain off from school so that you do not have to think about it. And then you come back in when your timer is up for your break, and then you get to set another 30 to 45-minute timer. And you will get so much more work done in this manner than if you just try to sit down and read a textbook for hours. It's just, who wants to do that? I don't know. Maybe there's people out there that want that, but that sounds terrible to me, quite frankly. And then let's not forget how to study. So studying should be whatever works for you. You need to figure out what your best method of studying is, and whatever that is, apply it to this. It's no different from physical school, from trying to learn a new skill, whatever it is, study in the way that works for you. My problem, I know how to study, but I didn't know how to narrow down the material. As I said, they just throw all this material at you. They throw a whole ass textbook at you and say, learn it. There's no study guides. There's nothing helpful of how to narrow down the information. So what I did actually is I joined the Penn Foster Veterinary Technician Facebook group. Seems like such a random, odd thing, but this is like my biggest tip, my biggest key to success was joining that group because they have resources. They have study guides. People have made study guides for specific proctored exams of information to focus on. I got 100% on my pharmacology proctored exam using this study guide that somebody made in the Facebook group. I couldn't believe it. And it narrowed down the information to like 6 pages or something instead of the 500-page textbook. It's a game changer. It's literally a game changer. So the Facebook group is super helpful for that. I personally don't really post much on there. There is kind of a lot of negativity sometimes. There's also people uplifting each other. You know, it's social media. It's back and forth. It's up and down. You get out of it whatever you want to. So I don't really do much of the social stuff, but all of the resources and guides in there are so helpful. And so that really helped me narrow down my focus and figure out what to study. And as the proctored exams come up, I'm going to continue to use those resources and use those support groups to make sure that I am able to successfully complete this program. And one of the last tips I want to talk about is how to balance it all. You're working full time, you're in school, for all intents and purposes, full time, and you have a social life, you're an adult, you have animals, you have kids, you have people to take care of, you want to travel. There are so many things grabbing our attention in this day and age. And so what I did is I have kind of decided I give myself a break on my work days. So Monday to Thursday, I work 7:30 to 6:30. I don't have the bandwidth to work on schoolwork. It's very rare that I have the bandwidth to work on schoolwork during those days. And that's okay. It's completely fine because my Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I know that I have time to work on school, but I balance it out with doing some fun things. So figure out what's important to you, figure out what's your most relaxing thing, your most relaxing time, and balance it with your schoolwork. Something that I often do is I'll start my schoolwork in the morning and then I'll go hiking because I adore being outside. I go hiking every single week. It's very important to me. It's really important for my mental health to keep my sanity during all of this. It would just keep my sanity at any time. But especially when I'm working and in school, I need to make sure that I can get out, get that fresh air, breathe in that sweet oxygen that the trees are putting out for us, and make sure that I have time to do a relaxing activity for me amidst all of the hectic busyness of life and school. Hiking is what works for me, but you should figure out whatever your thing is that you need to do every week or every weekend, however that works out in your school schedule, doing something that will take your mind off of school. And so you can just get out and relax for a little bit. And then you can come back and do your schoolwork. And so I kind of just balance this. Sometimes I work on schoolwork till 9 o'clock at night. Sometimes I'm done at 5 p.m. and I just can't handle it. So listen to yourself, listen to your body as well, your body, your brain, telling you how much mental capacity you have. If you find yourself rereading the same paragraph over and over and over and over again for 15 minutes, what are you doing? Just get out of there. You're not going to finish it. You're not going to work on it. Maybe you just need a 5-10 minute break, a 5-10 minute walk, and you can come back and look at it. But don't just keep hitting your head against the wall and trying to make it happen. So, balance is super, super important to make sure that you're actually going to be able to complete the program. I feel like there's so many people that I know who have started the program and stopped because they can't find the motivation, they're bored with the schoolwork, they can't find a balance of how to do everything, they feel overwhelmed with school and work. And so these are the things that I've kind of figured out that work for me, that help me get through semesters 1 and 2. So I'm completely finished with semester 1 and 2. I have also completed the externship that comes after semester 2, and that is going to be in the next video because that was a whole other bear. That was a whole other animal. The externship is very intense. It is not self-paced. That self-paced thing, well, just throw it out the window. That's not there at all. It is very much at their pace, and it is extremely time consuming, really demands like all of your attention because you're going to be working on your externship while you're at work and while you're at home. So you get no break from it. So that is a totally different thing. And I am going to share that with you in the next video. But in the meantime, I hope that this kind of helps anybody who's thinking about going into the Penn Foster program, is already in the program and is debating whether to continue, is trying to figure out how to balance it all, anything at all. So hopefully this helps, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Please like and subscribe below, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.